Doctor. Maya Chen had seen thousands of patients during her 7 years as an emergency room physician at Seattle Grace Hospital. Most faces blurred together after a while, lost in the endless stream of broken bones, fevers, and late-night emergencies. But there was one face she couldn't forget, no matter how hard she tried. It had been a rainy Tuesday evening in October when Sarah Mitchell was wheeled into the ER. Maya remembered because she'd been covering a double shift, exhausted and running on her 4th cup of coffee. The paramedics rushed in with a young woman who'd been in a car accident, conscious but shaken. With a suspected concussion and a badly sprained wrist, patient is 28 years old, rear-ended at a stoplight. The paramedic reported as they transferred Sarah to the examination table. Airbag deployed, no loss of consciousness, complaining of headache and wrist pain. Maya approached with her professional demeanor intact, clipboard in hand. But when she looked down at her patient, something unexpected happened. The woman on the table had striking green eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies, even filled with tears as they were. Her auburn hair was disheveled and there was a small cut on her forehead. But she was beautiful in a way that made Maya's breath catch. "Hi, I'm Dr. Chen," Maya said, recovering quickly. "Can you tell me your name?" Sarah Mitchell," the woman replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Okay, Sarah. You're going to be fine. I'm going to take good care of you," Maya assured her, surprised by the gentle warmth in her own voice. She was always professional, always kind, but this felt different somehow. Over the next 2 hours, Maya conducted a thorough examination. Sarah had a mild concussion and a grade 2 wrist sprain, but no serious injuries. Throughout the examination, they talked. Sarah was an elementary school teacher who'd been on her way home from a parent-teacher conference. She loved her students, especially the shy ones who reminded her of herself as a child. She had recently moved to Seattle from Portland to start fresh after a difficult breakup. Maya found herself sharing too, more than she usually did with patients. She mentioned her love for hiking in the Cascades, her terrible attempt at learning to play guitar, and her to cats, Sushi and Moki. Sarah laughed at her stories, and that laugh was like sunlight breaking through clouds. "You're really good at this," Sarah said as Maya wrapped her wrist, making people feel less scared. Maya smiled. "That's the goal. Though I have to admit, you're one of my easier patients tonight. No one's thrown a bedpan at me yet." "The night's still young," Sarah joked, and they both laughed. When it was time to discharge Sarah, Maya felt an unexpected reluctance. She went over the aftercare instructions twice, making sure Sarah understood everything about monitoring her concussion symptoms and caring for her wrist. "Do you have someone who can stay with you tonight?" Maya asked, trying to keep her voice professionally neutral. "With a concussion, you shouldn't be alone for the first 24 hours. Sarah's smile faded a little. "I'll call my friend Jessica. She lives nearby." Maya nodded, trying to ignore the small relief she felt at the word friend. She handed Sarah her discharge papers and a prescription for pain medication. Their fingers brushed during the exchange, and Maya felt a jolt of electricity that she absolutely should not be feeling for a patient. "Take care of yourself, Sarah," Maya said softly. "Thank you, Dr. Chen, for everything." As Sarah was wheeled out to meet her friend, Maya stood there for a moment longer than necessary, watching her go. Then she shook her head, grabbed her coffee cup, and went back to work. It was just one patient, she told herself. She'd forget about those green eyes by tomorrow, but she did in single quotes. 3 months passed. Maya threw herself into work, picking up extra shifts, volunteering for the most difficult cases. She dated casually, went on a few apps, met women at the occasional social event. But somehow, no one measured up to a memory that should have faded by now. It was a Saturday in late January when Maya decided she needed a break from the hospital's fluorescent lights and antiseptic smell. The Seattle winter had been surprisingly mild, and the forecast promised a rare sunny afternoon. She packed a book, a thermos of coffee, and headed to Volunteer Park. One of her favorite spots in the city, the park was beautiful, with its conservatory and water tower offering views of the city and mountains beyond. Maya found a bench near the fountain, settled in with her book, and tried to lose herself in the story. But her mind kept wandering, as it often did these days. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice someone approaching, until a shadow fell across her page. "Dr. Chen?" Maya looked up and her heart stopped. Standing before her, bathed in winter sunlight, was Sarah Mitchell. She was wearing jeans and a green sweater that matched her eyes, her auburn hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked healthy, happy, and even more beautiful than Maya remembered. "Sarah," Maya breathed, standing up quickly. Wow, hi, Sarah said, smiling that same smile that had haunted Maya's dreams. "I can't believe I ran into you here. What are the odds? In a city of over 700,000 people?" "Pretty slim," Maya said, her doctor brain automatically calculating probabilities even as her heart raced. How are you? How's your wrist? Sarah held up her right hand, flexing her fingers. All healed, thanks to you. I finished physical therapy last month, that's great. I'm so glad. Maya realized they were just standing there, staring at each other like awkward teenagers. Would you like to sit down? I'd love to, Sarah said, settling onto the bench beside Maya. They talked for hours. The conversation flowed as easily as it had in the year, but without the clinical setting between them. Sarah told her about her students, a particularly precocious 6-year-old who'd recently informed her that dinosaurs could definitely have survived if they'd just learned to swim. Maya shared stories from the year, carefully omitting identifying details but capturing the humor and humanity of her work. I have to confess something, Sarah said eventually, her cheeks turning slightly pink. I've thought about you a lot since that night. I almost looked you up on social media, but that felt weird. Like, hey, remember me? The girl who got in a car accident. Maya's heart leapt. I've thought about you too, she admitted. More than I probably should have. Why shouldn't you have? Sarah asked, turning to face her directly. Maya hesitated. This was the moment of truth. Because you were my patient. There are ethical considerations. I'm not supposed to pursue relationships with former patients, even if it's been months. Even if I'm completely healed? The guidelines are fuzzy, Maya admitted. But more importantly, I didn't want to assume you'd be interested. Or that you'd even remember me beyond that doctor from the worst night of my life. Sarah laughed softly. Trust me, you made that night bearable. And I'm definitely interested, if you are. If it's allowed. If it's not too weird, Maya felt a smile spreading across her face. Wider than she'd smiled in months. The ethics board would probably say I should wait a year. But you know what? I've been following every rule my whole life. Always doing the right thing, the safe thing. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of wondering what if. So what are you saying? Sarah asked, her eyes sparkling with hope. I'm saying, would you like to have dinner with me? A real date, not an accidental park meeting? I would love that, Sarah said. Though for the record, I don't think this meeting was entirely accidental. Oh? Maya raised an eyebrow. Sarah looked a bit sheepish. Okay, so maybe I found out from a mutual friend that you sometimes come to this park on Saturdays. And maybe I've been casually walking through here the past few weekends hoping to bump into you. Is that totally creepy? Maya laughed, genuinely delighted. It's actually kind of adorable. And it saves me from having to admit that I drove by your school twice. You did not. I absolutely did. I told myself I was just checking out different neighborhoods. But I was really hoping to catch a glimpse of you. They both laughed, the tension breaking. And suddenly everything felt easy and right. Their first official date was at a small Italian restaurant in Capitol Hill. Maya arrived 10 minutes early, which she immediately regretted because it gave her time to overthink everything. What if the attraction had just been a fluke? What if they had nothing to talk about outside of that magical park meeting? What if Sarah had changed her mind? But then Sarah walked in wearing a blue dress that made her eyes look like emeralds. And all of Maya's doubts evaporated. You look beautiful, Maya said, standing to greet her. So do you, Sarah replied. And there was something in her voice that made Maya's knees weak. Dinner was perfect. They talked about everything and nothing. Sarah described her childhood in a small town in Oregon, the daughter of librarian parents who'd filled their house with books and love. Maya shared her own story, growing up in San Francisco. The pressure of being the daughter of two successful surgeons. Her choice to go into emergency medicine, rather than following her parents into prestigious specialties. I love there because every day is different, Maya explained, twirling pasta on her fork. You never know what's coming through those doors. It's chaotic and exhausting and sometimes heartbreaking. But it's also where you see people at their most vulnerable and their most brave, like me. That night, Sarah said softly. You were incredibly brave, Maya confirmed. Even though you were scared, you stayed calm. You made jokes with the nurses. You trusted me to take care of you. I felt safe with you, Sarah said. From the moment you walked up to my bed, I knew I was in good hands. They lingered over dessert, neither wanting the evening to end. When Maya finally walked Sarah to her car, they stood in the parking lot, the Seattle drizzle starting to fall around them. I had a wonderful time, Sarah said. Me too. Can I see you again? How about tomorrow? Sarah suggested, a playful smile on her lips. That soon? Too soon? Not soon enough, Maya said, and then, gathering her courage, she leaned in and kissed Sarah softly. The kiss was gentle, tentative. A question and an answer all at once. Sarah's lips were soft and tasted like the tiramisu they'd shared. When they pulled apart, both of them were smiling. Definitely not soon enough, Sarah whispered. Their second date was a hike in Discovery Park. Their third was a cooking class where they laughed their way through making sushi. with disastrous but delicious results. Their fourth was a quiet evening at Maya's apartment, where they curled up on the couch with sushi and mochi, watching old movies and talking until dawn. With each date, Maya fell deeper. She loved the way Sarah's eyes crinkled when she laughed. She loved how Sarah always asked thoughtful questions and really listened to the answers. She loved how Sarah treated her cats with gentle affection. How she could quote entire passages from favorite books. How she made Maya feel like the most interesting person in the world. "I'm falling for you," Maya admitted one evening as they walked along the waterfront, the Seattle skyline glittering behind them. "I know it's only been a few weeks, but I can't help it." Sarah stopped walking and turned to face her. "I'm falling for you too. Actually, I think I've been falling since that night in there. When you held my hand and told me everything would be okay, it will be," Maya said, pulling Sarah close. "Everything will be okay, of course." Falling in love was the easy part. The hard part was figuring out how to build a life together. Maya's schedule was brutal. She worked 12-hour shifts, often overnight, sometimes picking up extra hours when the ER was short-staffed. There were weeks when she barely saw daylight. When she came home so exhausted she could barely string sentences together, Sarah was patient, understanding in ways that amazed Maya. She'd pack meals for Maya's shifts, leave encouraging notes in her lunch bag, and never complained when Maya had to cancel plans because of work. But Maya could see the strain it took on her. "I hate this," Maya said one night, tears streaming down her face. She just had to cancel their planned weekend away because of a scheduling emergency. "I hate that my job always comes first. I hate that I'm not there for you the way you deserve." Hey, Sarah said, wrapping her arms around Maya. "I knew what I was signing up for. You're a doctor. You save lives. That's not something to apologize for, but you deserve someone who can actually be present." Maya argued. "Someone who doesn't fall asleep halfway through movies or forget important dates. Because their brain is fried." Sarah cupped Maya's face in her hands. "I want you, Maya, the doctor, the person who falls asleep during movies. The one who gets so passionate about her work that she forgets to eat. All of you. Yes, the schedule is hard, but you're worth it." Maya pulled Sarah into a tight embrace. Overwhelmed by how much she loved this woman, they developed strategies. Maya blocked off certain days where, barring true emergencies, she wouldn't pick up extra shifts. Sarah started coming to the hospital during Maya's breaks so they could grab coffee together. They texted throughout the day, little messages that kept them connected even when they were apart. "Thinking of you," Sarah would write, usually with a photo of something that had made her laugh or a sweet note from one of her students. "Counting down the hours until I see you," Maya would reply, sneaking moments between patients to send heart emojis that she once would have thought too sentimental. But there were other challenges too. Maya's parents struggled to understand her relationship. They'd always been supportive of Maya's sexuality in theory, but meeting Sarah made it real in a way that clearly unsettled them. "Are you sure about this?" Maya's mother asked during a tense dinner. "What about your career? What will the hospital board think?" "They'll think I'm a good doctor who happens to be dating a woman," Maya replied firmly. "And if they have a problem with that, I'll find another hospital." Sarah, sitting beside her, squeezed her hand under the table. "We just want you to be happy," Maya's father said, though his voice lacked conviction. "I am happy. Happier than I've ever been. And Sarah is a big part of that." It took time, but eventually, Maya's parents came around. Sarah won them over slowly with her kindness, her intelligence, and her obvious love for their daughter. By Christmas, Maya's mother was asking Sarah for her famous chocolate chip cookie recipe, and her father was showing Sarah photos of Maya as a child. Embarrassing stories included. Sarah's parents, in contrast, welcomed Maya with open arms from the start. Her mother cried happy tears when they visited for Thanksgiving, and her father gave Maya a long hug and whispered, "Thank you for making our daughter smile like that." 6 months into their relationship, Sarah's lease was up for renewal. They were at Maya's apartment discussing options when Sarah said, "What if I didn't renew?" Maya looked up from her laptop. "What would you do instead?" I could move in here with you. If you want." Maya's heart raced. They talked about the future in abstract terms, but this was concrete, real. "Are you sure?" "It's a pretty big step." "I'm sure," Sarah said. "I practically live here anyway. My toothbrush is in your bathroom, half my clothes are in your closet. And sushi and mochi like me better than they like you." "That is categorically false." Maya protested, but she was smiling. "They're just using you for treats, so? Can I move in?" Maya pretended to think about it, tapping her chin thoughtfully. Sarah threw a pillow at her. Double quotes. "Yes," Maya said, laughing and catching the pillow. "Yes, absolutely yes. Move in with me." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of packing and organizing. Sarah brought her books, so many books, and her colorful art prints and her collection of plants. that Maya immediately worried about keeping alive. They rearranged furniture, argued playfully about closet space, and stayed up late painting the guest bedroom a soft lavender that Sarah loved. "This is ours," Sarah said one evening, standing in the middle of their living room, surrounded by boxes and scattered belongings. Our home," Maya echoed, pulling Sarah into her arms. Living together brought new rhythms and routines. Maya learned that Sarah was not a morning person and needed at least 2 cups of tea before she could form complete sentences. Sarah discovered that Maya sang in the shower, always off-key, usually songs from musicals that got stuck in both their heads for days. They learned each other's quirks and accommodated them. Maya started keeping Sarah's favorite chamomile tea stocked. Sarah made sure there was always fresh coffee for Maya's early morning shifts. They took turns cooking, though Sarah was definitely the better chef. Maya made up for it by always doing the dishes. "I've been thinking," Sarah said one lazy Sunday morning as they lay in bed, sunlight streaming through the windows. "Maybe we should get a dog." "A dog?" Maya said, still half asleep. "Yeah, a rescue dog. Someone who needs a home as much as we needed each other." Maya smiled, pressing a kiss to Sarah's shoulder. "I think that's a wonderful idea." 2 weeks later, they brought home Charlie, a mixed-breed puppy with floppy ears and an endless capacity for love. The cats were skeptical at first, but eventually they all settled into a chaotic, happy household. A year after they moved in together, Maya started thinking about marriage. Not because she felt like she should, or because they'd been together long enough, but because she couldn't imagine her life without Sarah. She wanted to make promises, to build something permanent and lasting. Planning the proposal was agony. Maya, who could make split-second decisions in the air without breaking a sweat, agonized over every detail. Where should she do it? How should she ask? What kind of ring would Sarah want? She enlisted help from Sarah's best friend Jessica, who proved to be an invaluable co-conspirator. "She likes simple things," Jessica advised as they browsed jewelry stores. "Nothing too flashy, but it should be meaningful." They finally found the perfect ring, a white gold band with a small emerald, surrounded by tiny diamonds. "It matches her eyes," Maya said softly. "She's going to love it," Jessica assured her. Maya planned to propose at Volunteer Park, where they'd met again after that fateful night in the air. She arranged for a photographer to hide nearby, recruited a string quartet to play Sarah's favorite music, and prepared a speech that she'd written and rewritten a dozen times. But the universe, as it often does, had other plans. 2 days before the planned proposal, Maya came home from a particularly brutal shift. There had been a major car accident on the highway, multiple casualties, and she'd lost a patient despite her best efforts. She was exhausted, emotionally drained, barely holding herself together. Sarah took one look at her and opened her arms. Maya collapsed into them, finally letting herself cry. "I couldn't save her," Maya sobbed. "She was so young and I did everything right, but it wasn't enough." "I know, baby. I know," Sarah murmured, holding her tight. They stood like that for a long time, Sarah being the strong one, the anchor Maya needed. Eventually, Maya pulled back, wiping her eyes. "I don't know how you put up with this," Maya said. The unpredictable schedule, the emotional toll, coming home like this. Sarah cupped Maya's face gently. "Because I love you. All of you, including the doctor who cares so much it breaks her heart when she can't save everyone." And suddenly, Maya knew that all her elaborate plans didn't matter. This was the moment. This was perfect. "Marry me," Maya said. Sarah blinked. "What? Marry me?" Maya repeated, more confidently this time. "I know I don't have the ring, it's hidden in my gym bag. Because that's apparently where I thought you'd never look. And I had this whole thing planned at the park with music and flowers. But I don't want to wait. I love you, Sarah. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Sarah was crying now too, but she was also laughing. "You hid the ring in your gym bag? It seemed like a good idea at the time. You're ridiculous. Is that a yes?" "That's a yes, you ridiculous, wonderful woman. Yes, I'll marry you." Maya let out a whoop of joy, lifted Sarah off her feet, and spun her around their living room. Sushi and Moki scattered in alarm, and Charlie barked excitedly. Caught up in the moment even though he didn't understand what was happening, Maya found the ring. And Sarah gasped when she saw it. "Maya, it's beautiful. It matches your eyes," Maya said, sliding it onto Sarah's finger. It fit perfectly. They called their parents, their friends. Jessica screamed so loudly on the phone that Maya had to hold it away from her ear. Maya's mother cried happy tears and immediately started talking about wedding plans. "I can't believe you proposed without the whole elaborate setup," Jessica said when she came over the next day to celebrate. "You spent weeks planning." "I know," Maya said, looking at Sarah, who was showing the ring to Charlie as if he could appreciate its beauty. "But it was perfect exactly the way it happened. Sometimes the best moments are the unplanned ones." They planned the wedding for the following spring. A small ceremony in the conservatory at Volunteer Park. They wanted to get married where they'd found each other again. Where their story had really begun, the planning process was surprisingly smooth. Neither of them wanted anything to elaborate. They chose wildflowers for decorations, wrote their own vows, and decided on a small reception at their favorite Italian restaurant, the same one where they'd had their first date. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we hadn't met again in the park?" Sarah asked one evening as they addressed invitations. "All the time," Maya admitted. "I think about how close we came to missing each other completely. What if you hadn't been walking through the park that day? What if I'd chosen a different bench? I don't think we would have missed each other," Sarah said thoughtfully. "I think somehow, some way, we would have found our way back to each other. Some things are just meant to be," Maya smiled. "When did you become such a romantic?" "When I fell in love with you," Sarah replied, leaning over to kiss her. The wedding day arrived with perfect weather, as if the universe was finally cooperating with Maya's plans. The conservatory was filled with light and flowers. Their closest friends and family gathered around. Sarah walked down the aisle on her father's arm, and Maya felt her breath catch. Sarah wore a simple white dress that flowed around her like water, her auburn hair pinned up with real flowers. She was the most beautiful thing Maya had ever seen. They stood facing each other, hands clasped, and spoke the vows they'd written. "Sarah," Maya began, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes, "when you came into my ear that rainy October night, I thought I was just doing my job. But you changed everything. You taught me that sometimes the most important moments happen when we least expect them. You've taught me about patience, about grace, about loving someone completely. I promise to be your partner, your best friend, your home. I promise to make you laugh, especially when things are hard. I promise to love you in sickness and in health, in good times and bad, for all the days of my life." Sarah was crying now, but smiling through her tears. "Maya, you saved my life that night, but not in the way you think. I was lost before I met you. I was going through the motions, wondering if I'd ever feel that spark, that connection everyone talks about. And then there you were, with your kind eyes and your terrible jokes, making me feel safe in the middle of chaos. You've shown me what it means to be loved unconditionally. You've shown me that home isn't a place, it's a person. I promise to support your dreams, to hold you when the job gets hard, to be your shelter in any storm. I promise to feed your cats when you forget, to make you tea when you can't sleep, to love you more with each passing day." There wasn't a dry eye in the conservatory as they exchanged rings and sealed their vows with a kiss. At the reception, Maya's father gave a toast. "When Maya told us she was dating a former patient, I'll admit I had concerns. Not about Sarah. Sarah is wonderful, but about the ethics, the complications. But watching them together, I understand. Some connections transcend rules and guidelines. Some people are simply meant to find each other. Maya, Sarah, may your love continue to grow and deepen with every passing year." They danced their first dance to a slow, sweet melody, Sarah's head on Maya's shoulder, both of them swaying gently to the music. "I love you." "Dr. Chen," Sarah whispered. "I love you." "Mrs. Chen," Maya replied, and Sarah laughed. "Actually, I think I'll be Mrs. Mitchell. Chen has a nice ring to it, don't you think?" "Perfect," Maya agreed. "Just like you." Married life suited them. They settled into new routines, deeper and more comfortable than before. Maya made an effort to maintain better work-life balance, turning down some of the extra shifts she used to automatically accept. Sarah got a promotion at school, becoming the lead teacher for second grade. They talked about their dreams for the future. Maya wanted to eventually move into hospital administration, where she could make broader impacts on patient care. Sarah was considering getting her master's degree in education. They both wanted to travel more, to see the world together. "I want to take you to Greece," Maya said one evening, browsing vacation photos on her laptop. "I want to show you the Mediterranean, eat fresh fish by the ocean, explore ancient ruins. I want to go to Scotland," Sarah added. "I want us to hike through the Highlands, stay in cozy B&Bs, maybe even search for Nessie." "We'll do all of it," Maya promised. Every adventure, together, they started trying to have a baby. It was a conversation they'd had early in their relationship, both of them wanting children, both of them excited about the possibility of building a family. They chose a donor, went through the medical procedures, and waited with hopeful hearts. The first attempt didn't work. Neither did the second or the third. Each negative test was a small heartbreak, a dream deferred. "Maybe it's not meant to be," Sarah said after the fourth attempt failed. She was trying to be strong, but Maya could see the disappointment in her eyes. "Or maybe we just need to be patient," Maya said, taking Sarah's hands. "We're going to have our family, Sarah, however it happens. Whether it's through IVF or adoption or some other path we haven't considered yet. We're going to be mothers." I believe that. On their second anniversary, Sarah surprised Maya with a positive pregnancy test. Are you serious? Maya whispered, staring at the two pink lines. I'm serious, Sarah said, laughing and crying at the same time. We're going to have a baby. Maya let out a shout of pure joy, picked Sarah up, and spun her around just like she had when Sarah said yes to her proposal. The pregnancy was challenging but beautiful. Maya used all her medical knowledge to take care of Sarah, perhaps a bit too obsessively. Maya, I don't need my temperature taken 3 times a day, Sarah protested. Humor me, Maya said. I'm a doctor and a nervous wreck of a wife. It's a dangerous combination. They transformed the guest bedroom into a nursery, painting it a soft yellow that Sarah called sunshine and Maya called butter. They assembled furniture, washed tiny clothes, and read parenting books until their heads spun. What if we're terrible at this? Maya said one night, overwhelmed by the responsibility of bringing a new life into the world. We won't be, Sarah assured her. We'll make mistakes, sure, but we'll love this baby so much. And isn't that what matters most? Their daughter, Emma Rose Mitchell Chen, was born on a Tuesday morning in April. She had Sarah's auburn hair and what looked like Maya's nose. And she was perfect. Maya cried when she held her for the first time. She's ours, she whispered in awe. She's ours, Sarah confirmed, exhausted and radiant. They brought Emma home, and life changed in ways both expected and surprising. The sleepless nights were hard, but every smile made them worthwhile. The constant worry was exhausting, but every milestone was a celebration. Emma's first laugh, her first word, which was, adorably, Mama, though they never figured out which one of them she meant. Her first steps, each moment was precious. Maya cut back her hours at the hospital even more, not wanting to miss a single moment of Emma's childhood. Sarah took maternity leave and then returned part-time, both of them juggling schedules and responsibilities with the same teamwork that had characterized their relationship from the start. Remember when we thought we were busy before? Sarah joked one morning as they got ready for the day. Maya for the hospital, Sarah for school, Emma for daycare. We were adorably naive, Maya agreed, kissing Sarah and then Emma's chubby cheek. But I wouldn't trade this chaos for anything. 5 years later, Maya stood in Volunteer Park on a sunny Saturday afternoon, watching Emma run through the grass with Charlie, who was older now but still playful. Sarah sat beside her on the same bench where they'd met all those years ago. Do you ever think about that day? Sarah asked, as if reading Maya's mind. All the time, Maya said. I think about how lucky we are. How easily we could have missed each other, but we didn't, Sarah pointed out. We found each other twice. And we've been finding each other every day since. Emma ran over, out of breath and glowing with happiness. Mom, can we get ice cream? After we have lunch, Maya said. But I want ice cream now, Emma protested. How about a compromise? Sarah suggested. We'll have lunch, and if you eat well, we'll get ice cream after. Emma considered this seriously, her face scrunched up in concentration, a look that reminded Maya so much of Sarah. Okay. She finally agreed. Running back to play with Charlie. We're going to have a negotiator on our hands, Maya observed. Wonder where she gets that from, Sarah said. Giving Maya a pointed look, they sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching their daughter play, the Seattle skyline glittering in the distance. Maya thought about the journey that had brought them here, from that rainy night in the air to this perfect moment in the park. You know what I love most about our story? Maya said eventually. What's that? That it's not over. We're still writing it every day. Every moment is a new chapter. Sarah leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. I love that too. Though I think we've earned our happy ending. We have, Maya agreed. But I think the best part is that our ending is really just another beginning. There's so much more ahead of us. Emma ran over again, this time bringing them dandelions she'd picked. Weeds, really. But to her they were precious flowers. For you, she said, handing them each a dandelion. Thank you, sweetheart, Sarah said, accepting the flower with all the solemnity it deserved. It's beautiful, Maya added, tucking hers behind her ear. Emma giggled. You look silly, Mom. The silliest, Maya agreed, pulling Emma into a hug. As the afternoon wore on, they packed up to leave, walking back to their car, Emma between them holding both their hands. Maya caught Sarah's eye over their daughter's head. Sarah smiled and Maya smiled back, a whole conversation happening in that single glance. They'd been through so much together, challenges and celebrations, tears and laughter, ordinary moments and extraordinary ones. They'd built a life, a home, a family. They'd learned that love wasn't just about grand gestures and perfect moments, but about showing up every day, choosing each other again and again. That night, after Emma was asleep and Charlie was curled up at the foot of their bed, Maya and Sarah lay together in the darkness, comfortable in the silence. Hey, Sarah whispered. Hey, Maya replied. I love you too. And really, Maya thought as she drifted off to sleep, Sarah's hand in hers, that was all they needed to say. Everything else, all the history, all the promises, all the tomorrows still to come was already understood years later. When people asked Maya and Sarah for advice about relationships, about taking chances, about building a life with someone, they always said the same thing: love isn't about perfect timing or ideal circumstances. It's about recognizing something special when it appears and being brave enough to hold onto it. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard. It's about choosing each other over and over again through all the seasons of life. Their story had started in the most unexpected way: a car accident and her visit, a chance encounter in a park. But it had grown into something beautiful and lasting, a testament to the power of taking chances and staying open to love. And sometimes, late at night when the house was quiet and they were alone together, they'd tell each other the story again. How they'd met, how they'd found each other, how they'd built this life. The details never got old. The magic never faded, because some stories are worth telling again and again. Some loves are worth celebrating every single day. And some people are worth taking every risk for. Maya and Sarah had found that in each other, and they'd never let it go. Maya Chen, now Dr. Maya Mitchell Chen, Chief of Emergency Medicine at Seattle Grace Hospital, stood at a podium addressing a room full of medical students. At 55, she still loved her work, though she'd transitioned from the chaos of the floor to teaching and administration. The thing about emergency medicine, she told the eager young faces before her, is that you never know who's going to walk through those doors. Every patient is a person with a story, with a life beyond that moment of crisis. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes, one of those patients changes your life forever. She smiled, thinking of Sarah after all these years. Just the thought of her wife could still make Maya's heart skip a beat. My point is this: do your job with excellence, absolutely. But also remember to stay open to the unexpected. Some of the best things in life happen when we least expect them. After the lecture, Maya checked her phone. There was a text from Sarah: don't forget, Emma's graduation dinner tonight at 7. Your daughter is officially a college graduate. And yes, you're allowed to cry. Maya smiled. Emma had graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in social work, passionate about helping children in foster care. She'd inherited Sarah's kindness and Maya's determination, and watching her become her own person had been one of the greatest joys of their lives. As Maya drove home that evening, she took the scenic route through Volunteer Park. It had become a tradition over the years. This little detour. The park had witnessed so many moments of their lives: that first accidental meeting, countless family picnics, Emma's 5th birthday party, and even a renewal of their vows on their 10th anniversary. She parked for a moment and walked to their bench, the one they still thought of as theirs even though it belonged to everyone. Someone had carved initials into it over the years, not theirs, but it made her smile anyway. Young love, leaving its mark. Still coming here, I see. Maya turned, her heart leaping as it always did at the sound of Sarah's voice. Her wife stood there, slightly out of breath, her auburn hair now streaked with silver, laugh lines around those green eyes that Maya still got lost in. You followed me, Maya said, grinning. 25 years of marriage. And you still think you're sneaky, Sarah teased, walking over to join her on the bench. You always stop here before big family events. I think you're getting sentimental in your old age. We're not old, Maya protested. We have a daughter who just graduated college. We're definitely not young anymore. Maya wrapped her arm around Sarah's shoulders, pulling her close. Do you ever regret it? How it all started? The unconventional way we met? Sarah laughed softly. Are you seriously asking me that? After everything? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if you wish you'd met me in a more normal way. At a coffee shop or a bookstore or something. Sarah turned to face her fully, taking both of Maya's hands in hers. Maya Mitchell Chen, I have never, not for one single moment, regretted anything about us. Yes, we met because I got in a car accident. Yes, you were my doctor. Yes, we probably broke some ethical guidelines. But you know what? That night in there when I was scared and hurt and uncertain about everything in my life, you made me feel safe. You made me laugh. You gave me hope without even knowing it. And then we found each other again right here in this park. How could I regret any of that? When you put it that way, Maya said, smiling. Besides, Sarah continued, a mischievous glint in her eye, if I hadn't gotten in that accident, I wouldn't have you. I wouldn't have Emma. I wouldn't have this beautiful, chaotic, perfect life. So honestly, that accident was the best thing that ever happened to me. That's a terrible thing to say, Maya said, but she was laughing. It's the truth. Don't tell my insurance company, though. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the sun begin to set over the Seattle skyline. The park was quieter now than it had been all those years ago, but it still held the same magic. Do you remember what you said to me that day? Sarah asked. When we met here again? I said a lot of things. I was nervous. You said you were tired of always following the rules. Tired of wondering what if. Maya nodded slowly. I remember, that was the moment I knew, Sarah said softly. That was when I knew you were brave enough to take a chance on us. On something uncertain and complicated and wonderful. Best decision I ever made, Maya said. Pressing a kiss to Sarah's temple, Sarah's phone buzzed. That's Emma, she wants to know where we are. Apparently, everyone's waiting at the restaurant. Let them wait a few more minutes, Maya said. I want to stay here just a little longer, you old softy, Sarah teased. But she settled back against Maya's shoulder. They watched as a young couple walked by, hand in hand, stealing glances at each other when they thought the other wasn't looking. Maya recognized that look, new love, uncertain but hopeful. Not yet knowing where the path would lead. We should go, Sarah said eventually. Our daughter is waiting and you know how hungry she gets. She gets that from you, Maya said. She gets everything from me. She's perfect. They stood, brushing off their clothes, preparing to return to their family and the celebration that awaited them. But before they left, Maya turned back to look at the bench one more time. Thank you, she said softly. For what? Sarah asked. For being brave enough to look for me. For walking through this park every Saturday hoping to run into me. For taking a chance on a doctor who was too scared to reach out first, Sarah smiled, linking her arm through Maya's. Thank you for staying open to the unexpected. For seeing me not just as a patient but as a person. For building this life with me. As they walked back to the car, Maya thought about all the choices that had led them to this moment. The choice to work a double shift that October night. The choice to take a break in the park that Saturday. The choice to say yes to dinner, to take a chance on love, to build a family together. Life was full of what ifs and maybes, of roads not taken and opportunities missed. But this road, their road, had led them exactly where they were meant to be. At the restaurant, Emma was waiting with her girlfriend Jasmine, a bright-eyed young woman studying environmental science. Maya's parents were there too, now fully gray and slower moving but still sharp as ever. Sarah's parents had flown in from Oregon, along with Jessica, who had remained one of their closest friends through all the years. There they are, Emma called out when they walked in. Mama, what took you so long? Just taking the scenic route, Maya said, pulling Emma into a hug. Congratulations, sweetheart. We're so proud of you, so proud, Sarah echoed, joining the embrace. Dinner was loud and joyful, full of laughter and stories and teasing. Emma regaled them with tales from her graduation ceremony, imitating the long-winded speaker who had talked for 45 minutes about seizing the day. Jasmine shared her plans for graduate school. Maya's father told embarrassing stories about Maya's childhood, much to Emma's delight. Did Mom really think she could perform surgery on her stuffed animals? Emma asked, giggling. She was very serious about it, Maya's mother confirmed. She used my sewing kit and everything. Poor Mr. Bear never fully recovered. In my defense, Mr. Bear had a very complex medical condition, Maya protested. But she was laughing too. As dessert was being served, a beautiful cake with congratulations Emma written in frosting. Sarah's father stood up, tapping his glass. I'd like to say a few words, he began. 23 years ago, Sarah brought Maya home to meet us. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the one, and I was right. Maya, you've been a wonderful partner to our daughter, an amazing mother to our granddaughter, and a true blessing to our family. Sarah, watching you and Maya build your life together has been one of the greatest joys of our lives. And Emma, seeing you grow into the compassionate, intelligent, driven young woman you are today fills us with such pride. To family, to love, and to the future, to family, everyone echoed, raising their glasses. Later, as they were leaving the restaurant, Emma pulled both her mothers aside. I have something to tell you, she said. Looking nervous, Maya's doctor instincts immediately kicked in. What's wrong? Are you okay? Nothing's wrong, Mom, relax. Emma took a deep breath. Jasmine and I are moving in together. We found an apartment in Capitol Hill. I know it's fast, we've only been dating for 8 months, but it feels right. And I wanted to tell you guys first before we signed the lease. Maya and Sarah exchanged a look. A whole conversation happening in that glance. They remembered being young and in love, making big decisions, starting their life together. That's wonderful, honey, Sarah said, pulling Emma into a hug. You're happy for us? Emma asked, looking relieved. Of course we are, Maya said. Though I reserve the right to help you move and give you unsolicited advice. About furniture arrangement, I wouldn't expect anything less, Emma said. Laughing. As they drove home that night, Sarah reached over and took Maya's hand. Our baby is all grown up, she said softly. I know. When did that happen? Somewhere between diapers and college graduation, Sarah said. It went too fast. It went exactly as fast as it was supposed to, Maya said. And she's amazing. We did good, Sarah. We did great, Sarah corrected. At home, they went through their nighttime routine. a dance they'd perfected over 25 years of marriage. Maya let Charlie out one last time while Sarah made chamomile tea. They checked on the cats, Sushi, and Moki's grandchildren. Now that the original pair had passed peacefully years ago, they brushed their teeth side by side at the bathroom sink, bumping elbows and smiling at each other in the mirror in bed. Sarah curled into her usual spot, her head on Maya's shoulder, their bodies fitting together the way they always had. "Maya?" Sarah said into the darkness. "Do you believe in fate?" Maya thought about it. "I believe in choices. I believe in taking chances. I believe in showing up and being present and staying open to possibilities." "Why?" "I was just thinking about all the things that had to happen for us to find each other. If I hadn't been in that accident, if I hadn't walked through the park that day, if you hadn't been sitting on that specific bench, so many variables, so many ways it could have gone differently, but it didn't," Maya said softly. "It went exactly the way it was supposed to. We found each other, Sarah, twice, and we've been finding each other every day since." "I like that," Sarah murmured. Already half asleep, Maya lay awake a little longer, thinking about their life together. It hadn't always been easy. They'd faced challenges and disappointments, arguments and misunderstandings, moments when the path forward wasn't clear. But they'd faced everything together, and that had made all the difference. She thought about that young doctor she'd been, so certain of the rules, so careful about staying in her lane. She thought about the leap of faith she'd taken that day in the park, choosing to follow her heart instead of the ethical guidelines. It had been scary and uncertain and absolutely worth it. "I love you," Maya whispered, even though Sarah was asleep. But Sarah, not quite as asleep as Maya thought, squeezed her hand. "Love you too," she mumbled, and Maya smiled in the darkness, grateful beyond words for this life they'd built, this love they'd found, this journey they were still on together.